I'm in Proverbs chapter 3. Good to see you guys tonight. Hope you had a good Bible class. We certainly had a good one here on Ezekiel in the auditorium. By way of application and a little bit of humor maybe, I want to tell you something happened today at the office today with me, encounter I had with someone. So I'm a financial advisor by trade, and so I was chatting with a client of mine I've worked with for several years. His name is Bill. And we were talking about how so far this year, I don't know if you're familiar, things have been a little rough in the financial markets so far this year. Shocking, I know, Daniel. But, with everything that's going on, with Ukraine and inflation and Fed changing interest rates and energy prices and whatnot, we were talking about, hey, it's been a roller coaster of a year, 2022. And so Bill makes the comment, he says, Jordan, how long is it going to be like this? This has been horrible. It's been so long since we've had any good news in the financial markets. And so for me, I paused. First of all, I thought he was joking, actually. And then he caught up on my pause, and so he paused, and he's like, right? It's been bad, right? And then at which point, me and him both started laughing. And I said, Bill, the last couple of years, things have gone fantastic, absolutely fantastic, like almost unprecedented. Things have been so good. The last couple of years, obviously this year, a completely different story. And so we laughed about that, had a good time with it, talked on and whatnot. And then so at the end of our meeting, he gets up and we're walking out of my office, and he goes, Jordan, I guess we all just need some reminders and some perspective along the way. At which point I thought, you are absolutely right, Bill. You're absolutely right. We all need perspectives. We all need reminders along the way. And so I thought about that this afternoon. In Proverbs chapter 3, the Proverbs teach us so many things about wisdom and how wisdom is knowing and acting on what you know. Is one definition of wisdom. And one of the things that Proverbs teaches us, too, I think, is that when you don't live your life focused on God, trouble normally ensues as a result of that. And so the first couple of verses of Proverbs chapter 3 says, My son, do not forget my teachings, but let your heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your necks, write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Common passage, familiar passage. So for me, the rest of this week, I've got 3 reminders that I'm going to try to focus on the rest of this week to help me keep perspective and have this before me. And so I share these with you this evening. Maybe it'll help you along the way the rest of this week as well. So the first thing I thought about was almost counterintuitive. Remember to not forget. Remember to not forget, right? So the wise man says, My son, do not forget my teachings, but let your heart keep my commandments. For the length of your days, years last, and peace will be added to you. Sometimes forgetfulness can lead to epic failure, or it could be fatal even. So I thought kind of a silly analogy here. Think about like a doctor. Like if you're on the operating table and he's doing a heart valve replacement, he forgets what he's doing there in the middle of it. That's bad, right? That could be fatal. It seems like we as people sometimes either we forget or even maybe neglect the things we used to know, the things we learned about when we were young that Solomon talks about here. He says, My son, don't forget these things. How forgetful were the Israelites in part of their wanderings? We talked a little bit about that this evening in the book of Ezekiel. They constantly needed reminders, refocuses. And I would suggest to you, I don't know about you, but I certainly need that as well. And so remember to not forget what God has done for us. Second thing is remember myself to be loyal and compassionate. So I'm in verse 3 again. He says, "Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of the heart." Faithfulness, steadfast love. I would suggest those are probably two qualities that we may not see too often in the world around us. And why should we have these two qualities in particular? He says in verse 4 what? He says to find favor with who? God first, and then our fellow mankind, our fellow brethren. So I think that's a principle that we could probably get around. Third thing I thought of too, I'm going to focus on remembering, is to trust God, not myself, not ourselves. Trust God, not ourselves. Verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." If we put our trust, if we put our focus, if we put our perspective on God, he will help us. He will help us in our journey. He will make our path straight. Not to be wise in our own eyes in verse 7, but for the Lord. So that's what I'm going to do the rest of this week. That's what I'm going to commit myself to doing. 3 reminders. Don't forget what God has done for us. Be loyal, be compassionate, have the kind of qualities that the world doesn't necessarily always have. And then I'm going to focus on remembering that my trust lies in God, not myself, not mankind, nor anything of this world. There you have it. 3 reminders, 3 perspectives. Maybe we can all use a little, as Bill said, maybe we can all use a little perspective and reminders along the way. If we can help you be right with God in any way you may not be tonight, whether it be prayers, whether it be baptism, if we can do anything to help you be right with God, let us know what we can do as we stand and sing when we all get to heaven.